Right, good afternoon everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you're having a good day so far. Today we are talking about the Fiesta, specifically my Mark V Fiesta Zetec S. Up until about 3 weeks ago, the car was like my daily car. You probably would have seen it on the channel a lot, did videos on it, yada yada yada. However, for the past 2 or 3 weeks, you will not have seen anything about it. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I do still own the car. I haven't sold it or anything like that, don't worry. However, it is now off the road, it's been sawned, it's not insured anymore, and it's currently sitting in my driveway. And since then, I've had a bunch of comments from you guys on all my other videos asking me what's happening with the Fiesta, where is it, have you sold it, all this other stuff. So I wanted to make this video to clear up any questions anyone may have and give you an idea of what's going to be happening with the car over maybe the next month or two, because I've got some pretty big plans and a lot of jobs that need doing on that car. I'll start off by saying that when I first got that car, there was a heap of jobs that I wanted to do. However, I was so eager to get the car on the road that I sort of just did what needed to be doing to get it through an MOT, and then I forgot about all the jobs that I wanted to do for the sake of it. And sort of just push them to the side. However, now that I've got the Astra on the road and the Astra is now sort of like my main car, the Fiesta has been put in the driveway and it gives me pretty much unlimited time to get the things that I want to get done on the Fiesta. So I'm hoping that by the springtime, early next year, like January, February next year, I'm hoping that the Fiesta is going to be in a much better position mechanically, and the way it looks as well. I'm hoping it's going to be like a transformed car, and it should be a lot nicer to drive. So I've written myself a little list here of things that I kind of want to talk about. Number one, I'm going to get this straight off the table because this is probably the most common thing that people tell me to do with the Fiesta, is to engine swap it. They want to see me put a Puma engine in it or an ST170 engine or something like that. The engine is not going to be changed for 2 reasons. Number one, I want to keep this car as original as I can. I want to keep it fairly factory. I'm not going to change much when it comes to aesthetics. I kind of want to keep the car pretty much stock because there's so many Fiestas that have been Puma swapped, stripped out, made into track cars. I want to keep one, at least one, fairly factory, so that's not going to be happening. Also, number two, I had a bunch of issues with my Corsa conversion. As you know, I changed it from a 1.2 to a 1.8 engine. I had so many issues trying to get DVLA to sort that out for me. I'm really not willing to go through that hassle again with the Fiesta, so the engine is going to be staying the same. It's got plenty of power for the little car that it is. It really doesn't need any more. I'm not going to be taking it on track days or anything like that, so it's going to be staying the engine as it is, as a 1.6. Now, with that out of the way, I have got a big list of mechanical jobs that still need doing on the Fiesta, and now is the best time to do it. Over the winter, where the car's going to be off the road for a month or two, now is the time to tackle those jobs, get them done. And I'm going to reel them out for you right now. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to be doing so you know what to be ready for when it comes to the content, because obviously I'm going to be filming everything as well. Right, now number one, I want to get the engine into a better mechanical state. Clutch release bearing on it sounds awful. I'll try and insert a clip in this video right now if the camera will pick up the noise. So I don't know if you can hear it or not because I haven't edited the video yet, but it is really noisy. As soon as you take your foot off the clutch, you can just hear that bearing spin and spin and spin, and it's so gaunchy and horrible. So I'll be doing a clutch release bearing. I'll obviously change the clutch while I'm in there. That's one big job that I want to do. Number two is I'm going to do the timing belt and all that sort of stuff. I did have the timing belt off before, so I probably should have done it back then when I did the water pump, but I'm going to do the timing belt for the sake of it, get that all sorted. So that will hopefully make the engine a lot more reliable. Having a new timing belt, having a new clutch, haven't got to worry about the timing belt snapping, haven't got to worry about the clutch going whilst I'm driving it. A couple of other issues that I'm going to sort is the rear axle bushings. I've got some polyurethane bushings, some like blue ones that I'm going to fit. The old ones are prone to going. I don't know if mine are gone, but I'm going to be changing them out for some polyurethane ones anyway, just for the sake of it. I've got the parts already, so I might as well do that. I've got a bunch of other stuff to do in the rear of the car. As you know, when I did my rear wheel cylinder on my brakes, the shoes looked really worn out, so I bought a new set of shoes for both sides, and I've also got 2 new brake pipes to go along with that as well, so I'll be changing all that out. Whilst I'm in that area of the brake drums, I'm going to be removing the brake drums and going to fit some rear spacers. I've got some 12.5mm spacers to fit to the back, just to bring the wheels out that slight bit more, to make the stance a little bit nicer. The wheels do fit quite well already, however I am going to fit the spacers just to bring the wheels out a tiny bit. Not only will it help with the look of the car, but it will also help with the stability and the steering of the car, so hopefully it will go around corners even better than it already does. Along with the rear spacers, I'm also going to be fitting front spacers, otherwise the rear will sort of stick out a lot more than what the front does. I think I've got 10mm spacers for the front, 12.5 for the back, so it should bring the whole car, all 4 wheels, out just that little bit, just to help it sit and look a little bit nicer. Now, accompanying the wheel spacers, I have also got some lowering springs. I'm going to be lowering it by I think it's 25mm. I've got 40mm springs, but on a Zetec S, because they're already lowered springs from stock, that only lowers it by 25mm, I think it is. So it'll be going down a bit, trying to take out some of that arch gap, because the back is especially bad. So I'm hoping to get rid of some of that and close that gap a bit. And the lower end springs accompanied with the wheel spaces, I think is going to look really nice, and just give it a little bit cleaner of a look. Now if I can, whilst I've got the car in the air and whilst it's off the road for a certain amount of time, I'm going to try and tackle some of the rust. I'm probably not going to be cutting anything out and welding anything, because I really don't have the skill or ability to do so. However, if there's patches of rust or stuff that looks like it's starting to rust, I'm going to try and tackle it with some like anti-corrosion stuff, paint over or under seal, anything that I can to prevent the rust, because as you know, old Fords, they are so bad for rusting. I'm going to hopefully tackle some of that. I'm going to try and stop it from rusting as much as I possibly can. I'm also going to be changing out the brake pipes on the front. If you've been watching for a while, if you've watched all the Fiesta videos, you'll know that once upon a time when it first went for the MOT, it failed on the brake pipes. I cleaned them up with some sandpaper. People really hated me doing that, and I sort of painted over them. They went through the MOT, however it's not really the right way to do it. And it's just started raining. That's excellent, thanks for that. You can probably hear that as well. Brilliant. I'm going to carry on anyway. So I'm going to be doing brake pipes front and back. All new brakes on the back. I might even do brakes on the front, depending what condition they're in. I'm going to paint the brake calipers and the drums. Might go with like a nice red, not entirely sure yet, so I'll paint them as well. So for right now, that's kind of all the mechanical and modifications that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's going to be some other things that spring up. I'm going to be giving the car like a proper detail, so I'm going to detail the engine bay, detail the interior, and also detail the outside of the car and give it like a machine polish and try and get it looking as good as I can get with the skills that I have. I'm sure a bunch of other things will pop up along the way. When you're working on something, you spot something else in the corner of your eye and that gets added to the list. So I'm sure that this is not the final list. I'm sure there will be things that get added to this, but we'll tackle them as we go. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of stuff planned for this Fiesta. I essentially just want to keep it nice, keep it stock, and try and restore it somewhat. Restore it a little bit, I want to just make it a nicer example of what it is and a more mechanically sound example of what it is, because it's a great little car, it drives great at the moment, and I just don't want to ruin that. I want to keep it as it is, because there's too many people out there that strip them, engine convert them, track them, crash them, let them rust out, all this stuff, and they are dwindling in numbers as the years go on, because they just end up getting scrapped. So I'm hoping it's going to stay a nice version of a Fiesta Zetec S. That's my plan anyway. So I hope that clears up most of your guys' questions. If you do have any more, leave them in the comments down below and I'll read them and I will answer them there. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, because I post pretty much daily on there. Been a bit slack lately, but I do try and post pretty much daily. I put it on the screen here. It's just simply the Savage Garage on Instagram. Follow me on there if you want to keep up to date. If you want to pick up a hoodie or a t-shirt or some stickers, the link is in the description as always. And that's it. I hope I answered all of your questions. The Fiesta is not going anywhere. It's sort of like one of those cars that I'm probably going to own forever. The Corsa 1.8 is still around. It's still in the front garden. I need to sort out what I'm going to do with that as well. But for right now, the Fiesta is going to be the winter project. I didn't see the point in buying another car. Not only do I not have the space for another car, but I didn't see the point in buying another car, because in the winter, my motivation for working on cars is not quite as much as it is in the summer. So I thought if I take on the Fiesta as a winter project, I've got a bunch of stuff I want to do to it anyway, so it just kind of makes sense to do the Fiesta as the next project. And then in the spring, once I've got rid of some of my vehicles, then we can look into getting something a little bit nicer. I really want a better car for the channel, so if you've got any ideas of what car you think I should get next as a project, leave it down below. I kind of want to get something with a turbo. If I can find something for the right price, I really want something with a turbo. So let me know down in the comments what you think I should get. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was just me sitting here, a little bit boring, but I wanted to clear all this stuff up and it makes sense to just chuck it in a video. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave the video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.